Make it fun, get a role play buddy. You have to get good at these scripts. Ultimately, if you go offshore or you bring in inside sales, a local ISA on, or you're recruiting buyer agents to join your team, your ability to get on the phone and convert people to face-to-face appointments and then close them to be loyal clients of yours, your ability to teach that to someone else at a minimum, is a critical skill to have. So don't minimize that. So get really, really good at using words to motivate people and influence prospects to do what you want them to do, which is to let them into their home, to give them a listing presentation, or get them to come to your office for a buyer consult, or meet at a coffee shop for a buyer consult. So hold yourself, your agents, and your ISA accountable. So you now have all of the time management forms that my team uses. So I have a buyer ISA. This is the exact buyer ISA daily form that we use at our team. And you have put a PDF version in here just so it'd be easy to see, but you have the Excel version of this. So you can change it to your team, and you may have different lead sources. This is for Boomtown, and we use Phone Burner as a dialer. We have all of our yard sign calls loaded into Phone Burner. And so my local ISA can go on the Phone Burner, and on a weekend where my agents are running crazy with buyers, we probably answer, maybe 2/3 of calls, probably half of calls live. And, we're not as good as we could be converting those people. So my ISA on a Monday morning goes on and blocks out that whole, the 30 or 35, 40 calls, and she'll call every one of them up again. And so this is a daily form. So she tracks the appointments, the new leads entered into Boomtown. These are yard sign calls, perhaps, that came in, and people that she sent to pre-qual. And it's a simple system. So she just puts a line through each number if she dials it. And she puts an X if the person answered live, and she circles it if she got an appointment. And then she totals her start time, her stop time, the number of hours, the number of dials, and the number of live answers, and she summarizes it on a daily basis. That's the daily buyer ISA. And then you've got the buyer specialist weekly success manager if you have a team. And this includes prospecting, lead follow-up. This summary is a weekly summary up on the top here. It's a daily, so you can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the weekend, 30. There's a spot for 30 outbound prospecting calls per day, 30 follow-up, and then we track a few things like seller referrals to the team, note cards, new contacts to database, go for no's, etc. Then on the back, we do appointments. So we'll go through these forms in more detail in our team building accountability stuff, but just know that those forms are there for you to use now if you're at a point now where you need to hold people accountable to prospecting. At least 2 hours a day for everyone on your team. If you've got someone on your team and you have the leads available and they don't have enough business, they could be prospecting for 5 or 6 hours each day. The goal here, and this is one of my consulting clients that said it, and he put it this way, you bring a buyer agent onto your team, you need them. Their worth to you is to talk to X people this week that you didn't talk to last week. So for him, it's 40 people. Each one of his buyer agents are required to talk to 40 people this week that they didn't talk to last week. So 40 new people. And some of that could be old, longer term follow-up. But for the most part, you can't go wrong in real estate if you're talking to 40 new people per week. Even if you fail and you hit 32, you're going to sell a lot of real estate talking to 30 to 40 new people each week. You must have a lead management policy in place. This makes it having a clear written policy for lead conversion and your expectations in this area just makes it easier when you bring people onto your team. So, and part of me is going through these documents here so you can see you have access to all of these documents, but to see how I kind of go through the different folders, and you have the Word version of this of the lead management policy, so you can change it for your team. If you're a solo agent and you're on this call, I wouldn't spend time converting this over to your team that doesn't exist. I would print it out though and read it, and know what we measure and why it's important. And I'm not going to go through this because you can do it on your own, and we'll spend more time in module 2 in the buyer system. But you have a copy of this lead management policy. If you're at the point where you have a team that is sort of running wild with leads and there's no policy in place, this might be a document that you grab right now and you convert it over. Spend the half hour it takes to convert it over to your team, and then talk with your team about it and put a big draft stamp on it and let them know that this is something you're working on and you want their input. Always enlist your team in input to make things better. And by having this, you're no longer the bad guy. It's just the policy. We have a weekly internet lead accountability tracker, and I gave you access to that as well. This may be for some of you, but not for all of you, where we actually track different activities for our Boomtown platform. And this is a manual process. It takes my local ISA around 15 or 20 minutes to gather each bit of this data for each of our agents. So that's something that you could do as well. Again, if you're a solo agent, I wouldn't spend a half hour a week doing this. I would spend that time prospecting. But just know that these are things when you build up a team that you'll need to track and dial in order to be super successful.